Andrew Mason. I live in Jefferson and Schoharie County, and I own 2 commercial properties in Stamford. I've been a resident for over 40 years, and I've been concerned and involved with the environment of our region for most of my adult life. I support the land acquisition program and its conclusion that it will help our environment, help protect our environment, and particularly our waterways. And I'm glad to be able to say that, not because of concern over the drinking water quality for several million New Yorkers, although that's important. I say it because it protects our waterways for us, the people who live here, recreate here, work here, our waterways. These are streams that pass through our towns, our farms, that our children swim in, and that we paddle and fish in. Shouldn't we want our streams and rivers to be clean for us? Not for New York City, but for us. If anyone tells you that the waterways were clean before, I'm here to tell you that they were not. As a young man fishing in the West Branch of the Delaware below the Stamford Water Treatment Plant, the rocks there were covered with slime from that plant. The smell was nearly unbearable. At this time of year, the upper reaches of the Cannonsville Reservoir were pea green with algae from the excess phosphorus and other nutrients from the farms and the hamlets along the river. There were instances of raw sewage still entering directly into the river. I personally witnessed manure being spread directly into waterways and along the streams. Livestock had unfettered access to the streams, eroding the banks and reducing water quality. Best management practices, these were the worst management practices. And this continued without any involvement or concern from the County Board of Supervisors or the local towns. And if New York City had not instituted its programs, that would still be the situation today. And if you doubt that, I invite you to visit the portions of Delaware County, the towns of Sydney and Franklin, Davenport, Harpersfield that are outside the watershed. You won't see any efforts to control barnyard waste or to reduce impervious surfaces or to repair failed septic systems or any of the other common sense practices that are now in place in the watershed. The lack of concern for clean waters and the health of the residents is just as prevalent today in those areas. As to the specifics of the land acquisition program, this is not only an opportunity to protect our waters and to maintain farmland, but it increases public access to the land for recreation. Nearly all the land the city has or will acquire has one thing in common. It was posted, no trespassing, for any reason. Now, this land will be open for hunting, fishing, hiking, and even farming and logging. And the city will pay full taxes on the land with essentially no burden on public services, no school kids, no costs to the social welfare or healthcare systems, no buildings to burn. Somehow the Board of Supervisors sees this as a negative. I don't understand that. Finally, I'd like to touch on the matter of property rights. For years, whenever issues such as zoning or land use regulations or codes or any other public controls on private property came up, the politicians would jump up and down and say, no, we can't do that. We can't tell people what to do with their land. We can't interfere with their rights. We heard that most recently with this issue of gas drilling. The supervisors are saying, we can't tell the landowners they can't allow drilling on their property, even though this activity may well negatively impact their neighbors to the point of reducing their property values, damaging their water supply, negatively affecting their quality of life. But if someone wants to sell land to New York City, they're more than happy to throw roadblocks in the way. They have to get approval from the towns, certain areas they're not allowed to sell, or they have to meet certain requirements. I remind these politicians that claim to be so supportive of private property rights that these are agreements between willing sellers and willing buyers. If you're so concerned about individual rights, then get out of the way. Let this program and these sales proceed for the benefit of all of us.